contemplate the workings of the inner being. Your eyes are wide open, but are you really seeing?
Seeing, man.
Sup, man?
So we gotta talk about something.
We gotta talk about a lot of things. But this right here, we need to talk about right now. Right now.
Yeah. My name is Cole.
My name is Ty.
We are
Ty
Cole,
Cole,
and this is
Mentor in the Mirror podcast.
All right, we have been drilling in inclusivity and how important it is and the difference between discrimination, or sorry, not discrimination, but
Yes. Well, I mean,
diversity and inclusivity,
right?
discrimination, racism, all the differences between some of these very commonly used words that I feel like no one actually understands what they mean.
Right.
So I don't know if anyone else here follows any sort of conspiracy theory-esque information, but basically we hear all truths between clients, people we know, people we work with, and just through many avenues.
Right.
We get exposed to like every possible truth that there is on the planet.
Right.
So, which is a great, huge gift. One of these stories, beliefs, truths, it doesn't make any difference to me, is that Michelle Obama is really a man. And I don't know if anyone's ever heard this before, and if you Google it, you can, whatever. Ultimately, what difference does it make?
What difference does it make if Michelle Obama is a man? And what difference does it make if Michelle Obama is a transgender person? What difference does it make?
So this is something that we talk about quite often, is that people believe like, oh, I've got this black friend or I've got this trans friend, that means that you actually understand the inner workings of that human being and their experience. And the sheer idea that someone being trans makes them, oh, well, he's really a man, means that the person knows nothing and does not actually know a trans person or someone that has transitioned. Even to say that someone is trans is not identifiable for every person that has transitioned. We have people really close to us that do not identify as trans person. They are the gender that they have assigned to themselves.
Identify as.
Yes.
And when we talk about identifying, we are talking about identity.
Yes.
And identity is the foundational societal construct. I am who I believe, or I believe I am who I am. And, the identity construct goes in more than one direction. It goes more than the outward direction. It goes in the inward direction. So other people have an identity for you.
Right.
And so which identity is the quote unquote real identity? The identity that I believe I am, or the identity that you believe I am,
or your family, or
they believe I am,
right.
or we believe I am. What is the real identity? And I believe at the core, the main identity that I have is what I believe that I am.
Well, and that's what everyone is saying that they want for themselves and that they want for other people, and yet they don't understand how deeply oppressive their language is and the bigotry they project onto other people. Because I don't know anyone that doesn't express, I just want to be myself.
Neither do I. Or I want to be like this, or I want to do this. Right. I want to be me in this space. So when other people tell you who you are and how you are and what you really feel and what you really mean and how you should be performing, that is oppression.
Yeah.
That is one of the deepest forms of oppression on this planet. And if we're going to talk about racism or anything else, we are talking about the overarching umbrella of oppression. And oppression comes in many forms. Mm-hmm. Sexism, racism, classism, ageism. I say this stuff over and over again. And I know I feel really charged about this because this oppressive thing, I've been oppressed a lot in my life from a lot of different people for a lot of different circumstances. And this is why I choose to operate the way I do, from a place of inclusivity and acceptance of every person, no matter what they look like, no matter what language they speak, no matter what sex practices or gender they assign to themselves. It doesn't make a difference to me.
Or just name. Like, we'll have people, how often have we had people be like, I'm not calling you that, that have known you for like your whole life or whatever, or someone comes and says, oh, I want to be called this now. People are like, I'm not calling you that because I've known you since you were little and your name is this. This assignment, this control, this oppression of, no, you're going to be who I believe you to be because that is what's most comfortable for me. And I'm not going to be uncomfortable for you in support of your identity. And you and I say all the time, if someone comes over to me and says, I want to be called Monkey Man McGibbons, you are from that moment on Monkey Man McGibbons until you tell me otherwise.
And I mean, well, when it boils down to this Michelle Obama thing, we have in society, we have put identity and gender roles and gender normification. I think that's normalization.
Normalization. Yeah.
Gender normalization on people based on how they dress, how they wear their clothes, how their voices sound, and that type of stuff. So I've been hearing from people, well, Michelle Obama's been fooling people all this time.
She lied.
And lied about what? Wait, hold on. Did Michelle Obama walk up to a podium somewhere and say, hello, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Michelle Obama, I'm a woman? No, I've never heard this thing before. And regardless if she said it or not, it's her choice what she identifies as. And so does this stop her from being able to perform her duties or her job or whatever she's performing in life? Does it stop her from being a politician? Does it stop her from being a lawyer? It doesn't stop any of these things. So what difference does it make? And I've had multiple people come to me and say, well, she's fooling people. She's lying to people. Right. And I believe in my heart that the people that I've spoke to have this idea that there's something wrong with being outside of a gender norm situation.
Yep.
And so there's something wrong with being gay. There's something wrong with being bisexual. There's something wrong with being transgender. So if a person is that, they're fooling people. I think this is the height of bullshit.
Well, look at how many people are fooling people every second of every day. That is the work that we do with people, is that the realization, like we'll have a conversation with someone. How honest are you with the people in your life? Oh, I'm really honest with them. How honest are you with yourself? Well, I'm not that honest. Then you are not that honest with the people in your life.
No, because you're providing an identity that's bullshit.
Right, and which is inauthentic.
Right.
And within 2 minutes of talking to anyone, you find that we all have incongruencies and things that are misleading or inauthentic or whatever.
Right, that imposter syndrome.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And everyone has it, every single person. And so then to come along and determine what you perceive as somebody else's information that they're withholding is a lie or a secret, come talk to me for 5 minutes and I'll point out yours. Because it's like, ultimately, if you're looking for freedom, if you're looking for sovereignty, if you're looking for individuality, and then you find yourself making comments like, well, they're really a man, you are the oppressor. You are feeding the same systems you're trying to fight out of. And just because you think, oh, well, I'm working in anti-racist fashions and I'm trying to, help people that are less fortunate, or I'm trying to save all the animals. If you in turn are trying to save one person, one type of people, one group, while turning and oppressing another, you are still contributing to the problems in this world.
That's right. And oppression is the overarching situation.
Correct.
People are oppressed by so many different things. And so to focus your attention on one oppressive space and still participate in the rest is an incongruency. It's an incongruency. And I'm going to call shit out and bring it to people's attention, because this is what we're talking about. We're talking about, the big thing right now is racism. The focus right now is racism.
Well, and now
it's going into the child sex slavery. That's another form of oppression. And what else? What about all these oppressive religions? What about all these oppressive country circumstances? What about all of these oppressive things that are in the world happening?
We have oppressive jobs. We have oppressive, there aren't many things that aren't designed to oppress and have a hierarchy and a less than or a better than or a whatever. So much of what this world is built on is, maybe it in itself, it wasn't all built to oppress, but people use it to oppress.
Well, listen, everything serves a function.
Yeah.
And sometimes oppression serves a function. Oppression serves a function for one group of people.
I was going to say it always serves a function, just which one?
Right. So it serves a function to the betterment of one sect of people, over another sect of people, and that's how you get the benefit, by defeating another set of people or another person or whatever, animals, whatever. You're oppressing something. And so, are we going to look at oppression as this overarching situation and adjust the oppression situation, or are we going to hone in on one thing, play superhero in one place, and then be oblivious about everything else?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big deal.
Well, it's like deciding to be a savior when it's convenient and an oppressor all the rest of the time. It's like I'm going to determine where the value is and then try to make myself feel better by putting it in one direction. And that is people are not aware. They are not, well, they're aware of what they're aware of. But as far as like, if you find yourself wanting the betterment for humanity, then bringing the awareness of where you are the oppressor is imperative.
Right.
It's imperative.
Yeah.
So what do we do, Tawadi?
We talk to people about this shit and we bring it to their attention. And if you see other people talking about these things, I encourage you. I mean, first thing I encourage is people to step in front of the mirror and really just ask yourself, have I been oppressing myself? Mm-hmm. Have I been oppressing other people? Is my language oppressive? Am I oppressive with my children?
Yep.
Do I tell my children you can't do that because you're this age, right? Instead of explaining to them the particular reasons why you would want them to not do something.
Are
you oppressing your husband or your wife? Are you holding
your relationships of all kinds? Are
you oppressing your friends? Yeah. Are you short-sighting people because of their sexual identities or their gender roles or whatever you want to talk about in that space? Are you oppressing yourself? And once you identify that, just observe and look around and see what other people are doing and call people. People are calling people out on racism, but people are not calling people out on screaming their kids out and oppressing their kids in public. Nobody's talking that shit.
Yep.
Right? Nobody's talking that. And I've seen tons of videos with people beating their kids and doing all this stuff where nobody says nothing. Well,
it's not my kid, it's not my business.
Not my kid, not my problem. It's the same thing. But racism is your problem, but it's a child being oppressed here. So nobody's speaking out. We're not being a community on these things. So I am encouraging people, let's be a community. Let's check people on it, but let's check them with love. Hey, I'm observing something. I'm observing that this is kind of an oppressive space. Where are you with oppression?
Well, and being able to, if you know that your friends or the people in your life are looking to be supportive of humanity and they do care about people, then it is that invitation of, hey, would you be open to a reflection that I'm seeing? Because I know that it is your intention to uplift humanity, and I see how supportive you are with these groups of people, and I'm seeing a little bit of an incongruency here, because to me this seems like oppressive behavior or language, and if you're open to it, and I'm open to it, anyone can come say stuff like that to me anytime. I want to know, because if I'm not aware of it, I can't do anything about it.
That's right.
So for me, the more reflections I get, and look, I get reflections that have nothing to do with me, mm-hmm. where people will come and reflect something and they're projecting, not reflecting.
Right.
So in those circumstances, I take it in, I consider it, and I sit with it, I be with it. And if it doesn't resonate, it goes right back out the door, because I also will not take on somebody's projected beliefs, because that goes back to that identity thing, right? I'm not going to take on who you believe I am. I have done so much work to be as authentically myself as I can possibly be. And that's why I am so diligent in supporting that in other people. And I don't care what the background is. I don't care who you were. I don't care who you are. You tell me who you want to be, who you feel that you are, and how I can support you in that identity that you decide.
Right.
And other than that, I don't care. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it looks like. What do you want? What do you need to be able to actualize, fully realize, and be that? Right.
And I mean, I have no problem with people wearing the colors that they want to wear. People wearing their hair the way they want to wear it, wearing clothes, it doesn't make a difference. These assignments that we've put on clothes, the assignments that we've put on hairdos, the assignments that we've put on how a person moves is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It's something that has been used to discriminate. And discrimination is not, this is something that I'm going to start driving this home over and over again. Discrimination is something that we all do. We discriminate so that we can see the differences.
Right.
And discrimination and I'm not talking about setting somebody aside because of their differences. It's just, I can discriminate. It's delineation.
Yeah.
Right. I know that, if you are shorter than me, right? Or if you're taller than me, I know the difference. The discrimination is me observing that, right? So if I lean into, I like shorter people more, or I like taller people more, that's having a bias, right? It doesn't mean it doesn't mean I'm being bigoted or having an activity against a person. It just means I have a preference. When you're a bigot, it's when you start to oppress a person because of, oh man, short people are stupid. There's a song called "Short People Got No Reason to Live." Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember.
It's a terrible fucking song,
Yeah.
and it's that is bigotry, and to be like tall people are doofy, right? That is bigotry. And so when you start to oppress a person because of that type of stuff, that becomes the height of bigotry. And so when we look at the delineation through discrimination and then observing your bias towards something, right? If you have a bias towards certain friends, that's just your preference. But if you start oppressing people because they are different than your friends, that is bigotry. And that's a fucking problem.
Well, and the sheer idea, if you look around and all your friends are really similar, like, and I mean, there's a difference between having people that are similar to you as far as like-minded and you have things in common. But if everyone is almost a carbon copy of each other, if you look around your friends, then how diverse is the thoughts and the conversations that you're having? Because for me, to expand my current perceptual lens, I must be introduced to new ideas, new viewpoints, new perspectives.
Right.
And if you notice that you're kind of always hanging out with the same people and the same kinds of people, then that is going to fortify your belief structure and stop you from questioning whatever dogmas and new constructs you're participating in.
Right. I mean, it makes it easier for you to look at something other than the section of people that you're dealing with as wrong or dysfunctional.
Well, then it becomes they again.
Right.
Then it's us, which it's like, us is the people that I identify as my family, my close friends that are similar to me, right? That's the us. And then there's the they. And the second that there's a they, you have discriminated. You have separated from. You have determined that there is that group over there that's too different from me. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's something that's so... I mean, this gets us both charged, you know, because we have close friends that are like-minded for sure. The truth is we have a very diverse group of friends. And when I say diverse, I mean different ages, different sexes, don't have a gender identity and choose not to. Like we have every type of person. Well, maybe not every, because I wouldn't know, right? There's still more to go. But it is a fascination for what makes a human work, of what makes someone an individual. What have you been through? What do you believe?
Right. What are your truths? See? What do you perceive?
Yes.
You know, what do you perceive? And it doesn't.
And what do you think we can do?
But it doesn't make it right or wrong, because that's what they believe. It's what they believe. Tell me why you believe it. Can I share you what I believe in regards to that stuff? And I'm not shutting your beliefs down. I'm just showing you how I believe this stuff. And we can still coexist without destroying other people because they believe in different things and they live in different places. They eat different foods. All of this stuff is ridiculous. And so to sit here and to beat up on a person because of your speculation on their gender situation, and you know, what's the big deal? What is the big deal?
Well, and it is that if you find yourself saying something, and this is only an example, right? It really doesn't have to do with Michelle Obama. It has to do with this structure. If you find yourself even joking around, oh, well, they're really a man, then you don't know anything about a trans experience or someone who has transitioned. Because until you've held someone that is going through hormonal changes, that is trying to figure out who they are, because the sheer physiological experience of transitioning is intense, man. Like someone's they are chemically changing as a person, and they're deciding, and they're really determining and riding this crazy wave that when I hear comments like that, it lacks any compassion, understanding, or consideration.
Well, I mean, you know, the people that I've spoken to have a lot of they have a lot of ideas around being transgender is a wrong thing. Being homosexual is a wrong thing, and they're not the same. They don't have to fall into the same space, and they don't often. And so these things have been considered abominations by religions, abominations by societies, and this type of stuff. So then there's no room for inclusivity. And so if you're not including, you are being bigoted. You are being a bigot in a bigoted space, moving from a bigoted space, regardless of why you're doing it. You're still discriminating and it's still oppressive. And so that oppressive discrimination becomes a dysfunction, and it causes a shame device to roll up, and it causes a person to be isolated, which if you're isolating somebody, there's no way that you can be intimate. And there's no way you can have inclusivity. So you are being exclusive, and it's the same shit as racism, sexism, classism, and all the other isms that cause people to be oppressed. So I'm just calling it out. You know, if you're a person and you're moving in a space, are you moving in a space of oblivious bigotry? Have you been doing that? Have you been doing it with your children? You know, oh, my kid's not going to be gay. I hear this shit all the time. Yeah. Oh no, I won't have my child being gay.
Well, and even the excuse I'll hear is, well, because I don't want him to have a hard life. Who told you that belief? Because we all have to find communities that are supportive.
And I want my kid to be normal. The idea that being gay is abnormal. You know, this is what is normalized, right? What is natural for an individual person does not make it natural for everybody else. Yeah. And so when we look at this stuff and we really lean into being inclusive, then let's be about it, y'all. Let's really be about it.
And this isn't to, you know, if you have noticed it for yourself in the past, this isn't for you to be hard on yourself, right? This is to really shine a light in some of those parts of yourself you may not even realize. So if you find yourself or catching some of your friends, the invitation is kindness. You know, you don't have to be nice. Like, this isn't about being nice, but being able to be compassionate and invite people into conversation. Sending them this podcast episode. Maybe you don't feel ready to have this conversation. That's perfect. This is why we're creating the program that we are. This is why. Yes, it's rated R. Yes, it's coming through the lens of racism, oppression, diversity, inclusion. The truth is, this is about oppressive systems. This is about oppressive language. And once you become aware of how you are the oppressor, then you are able to identify how to more effectively and efficiently be inclusive and support people who who are oppressed, and really make the changes that need to happen on this planet for us to evolve. I mean, this shit is tired, y'all. Like, it's tired.
It needs to go to bed.
Yeah, like right. It's really, sleepy drunk, man. Put that baby to bed.
Put it to bed, bruh. And so, you know, again, I invite you to step in front of the mirror and take a look at yourself and really be honest. You know, that radical self-honesty, we've been talking about radical self-honesty for the entire time our podcast has been on. Are you being honest with yourself about how oppressive you are with yourself? You know, start with you. Have you been stopping yourself from doing things because you think other people won't approve of your identity? That is someone else oppressing you through you.
Yep.
Through you, a system of religion or a system of government, a system of nationality. Are you oppressing yourself to conform?
The truth is, you are oppressing yourself. Once you start to recognize where you are, everything will start to change.
Yes. And then take a look at, you know, what you're doing to oppress other people if you are. And check yourself. Don't beat yourself on it. Don't shame yourself on it. Lean into a place of, oh man, I recognize this. Now what do I do? How do I change the patterns in my nervous system so I'm not doing this shit on autopilot? So thank you so much for joining us as always. Please, we know you love this. Rate, review, subscribe, share with a friend.
These are the conversations that we've got to be having. And, you know, just sharing the episode is a good start. And then asking a friend, let's talk about that. What do you think? What do you know, I want to hear your perspective. That is where we can really start to really shift some shit.
Yeah.
So as always, thank you all for tuning in. We love you so, so incredibly much. And just know that whatever, whoever, however you want to be, you are supported from here. And we love everything about you. We love everything you have been and everything you plan to be. So until next time, my name is Cole.
My name is Ty.
This is
Mentor in the Mirror Podcast. Be free.